You're such an asshole.
Hello, back again with another request. Kind of an interesting one, because a little bit more philosophical than I thought. Dear Cappy, just to give you some context, I'm a young 30s guy from a low-income area. Where I'm from, we call it the hood. I had my share of women, but they always gave me a hard time. After finding the manosphere in my mid-20s, I was able to identify that the problem was that I wasn't the best hypergamous option for women. So I went to college, and now I'm a let's just say you're a medical professional, because I don't want to identify you. Making a very handsome salary. I know it's not be a lot of money to you and some of your views. I'll take your money. It's a lot to me. I'll take it. Yeah. There's some of your viewers, but I now make more money than most of the guys in my neighborhood, according to standards of where I'm from. Dude, not only are you making more money than like your average guy in the hood, you're making more money than I think you're in the top 20%, I think, of all income earners, male income earners. You're not average. You're significantly above average. You're doing very well. I'm now a high value man. I'm now exactly the man that most of the type of women that used to give me a hard time want. Yes, I know I'm behind the 8 ball and that this amount isn't the end all be all. I'm planning on going back to school to pursue higher fields in medicine, but I'm not writing for financial advice. All the financial advisors say that I need to move away from where I grew up and the people I grew up around to be around more successful people. Here's where the interesting philosophy comes in. So I know that the reason for that is that guys around me are less financially well off, are going to be jealous, and are not going to be happy that I'm the one with the women they want, which would eventually cause problems for me. Where I'm from, we call those guys haters. So the guys who just like got better game and work out more and make more money, you mean the guys that hate you or hate? Yeah, they're haters. Yeah. The issue I have with moving away is that if I do move away, I'll lose all the sexual market value that I work so hard to acquire. Where I'm from, I'm now the highest value male and the biggest hypergamous option for women around here. I'm the proverbial big fish in the small pond, which is basically what all the red pill advice said I need to be able to use hypergamy to my advantage. If I move to a nice area into social circles of higher socioeconomic status, I would go back to just being a regular guy, but in a nicer surrounding. I understand the reason they advise guys like me to move, while as good advice isn't from a red pill perspective. Where I'm from, the highest value male and the best hypergamous option for women. I'm now one of the highest SMV value that all women in this community want. How am I supposed to walk away from that just to have a better zip code and to be around women that have higher standards when they don't even look any better than the women from my neighborhood? Good question. Wouldn't moving away be moving backwards as far as hypergamy is concerned? So I understand your concerns, but then I had a third variable you hadn't thought of here. I said, well, tell me exactly what is it that you hope to get to moving to a nicer zip code? And do you even display your wealth in your current neighborhood? Also, how good is your social network where you're living now? Got good friends, core group of guys? Or is it, man, you could take it or leave it? He says, well, I'm told I'm supposed to get contacts by moving to a nicer neighborhood. Yeah, that's bullshit. Okay, see, now there may be other reasons to move to a nicer neighborhood, but that's bullshit. Okay. One, you're probably not allowed to go out and socialize anyway with COVID. Two, the way you make money right now is because you have a highly sought after skill. That's how you make your money. And if you're going to get further education and training in your particular respective field, become a specialist or whatever, additional certificate, that is what's going to get you employed. All right. So the hospital or the clinic or wherever you work, it's possible your neighbor is like, CEO of the hospital down the street. Sure, that might happen, but it is your skills that has gotten you where you are financially, not your networking or contacts. What I think I really gained is security where other guys wouldn't be jealous and try to smash my car windows. As far as displays of wealth, I'm still debating on buying a nicer car. My display will just be everything, really. I will dress nicer, have a nicer place, nicer car, go to nicer places, have a professional career, which they don't, and just be living a better life in general. Well, let me ask you this. Does having nicer clothes and a nicer car mean you're living better? Like, I got a shit car, man. My truck is 18 years old. I don't have no nice cars. My motorcycles are at least 5. One is 13. No. One is, how's the math work on that? Not 17. Is it 17? It is 17. I got a motorcycle that's 17 years old, and the other one is 14 years old. But my point is, not once in my life did my clothes increase my happiness or my standard of living. Oh, I got a nice suit and whatnot. But what if anything increased my standard of living, it would be things like eating nicer food, better food, and then traveling, frankly, and not like fancy. Let's go to Paris or anything like that. It's just like, let's go to Vegas. Let's go ride motorcycles in the United States. The material items I own never determined my standard of living. I think, especially for younger men such as yourself, you think you want to dress nice. You think you want a nicer place. You want a nicer car. Going to nicer places, I could see, like, maybe you want to go to some finer dining or a nice jazz club, but that you're consuming food or music or something that's a little bit, or even ambiance you could consider. So yeah, it's a little higher standard of living. But dude, you see my clothes, right? You've seen me before. Half the time I'm in my pajamas. I haven't bought new clothes. I used to get my clothes at Goodwill. The only reason I got relatively new clothes is because the girlfriend buys me my clothes now. And I'm like, how about you to wear this sweater? Okay. I didn't pay for it. Fine, whatever. I'll dress like your monkey. What do you want? Larger point is, wealth should not be displayed for a whole host of other reasons, least of all to get your car window smashed in or your tire slashed or things like that. Another reason, kind of along the same lines, is you don't want people knowing you got money and then they come sue you. It sounds like in your community, I know that this is commonly the case. Somebody makes it big. Hey, where's the money? Share the wealth, spread the wealth. They're like, oh, fuck you. You didn't work for this. I did. It's all me. And then, oh, you think you're better than us and all that standard old bullshit. But it doesn't matter where you live or where you are. One, you never display your wealth. Never. Two, I don't even think you really spend your wealth. And if you spend it on something, I hate to sound like a millennial. It's experiences. Like, I got a good meal. I got I rented a bike so I could ride to Alaska. That was an experience. I didn't buy fancy clothes because I don't want to impress anybody. And I know you think dressing nicer or having a nicer place or a nicer car, it'll make you happy. It won't. You think maybe it'll get you more girls? It probably won't. Now, there is an argument to be made that if you're online dating, you should dress nice. Talk to Myron Gaines about that. He's the expert in that. Or Rich Cooper's book, he's also about that. But in terms of a lifestyle, you don't need to do that. I mean, by all means, go. Okay, try it, but don't get a nicer car. Let's do it cheap. All right, go buy yourself, like, not a whole new wardrobe, but get yourself a couple outfits and maybe a really nice suit. Then go wear it, and then after like 3 months, ask yourself, are you any happier? And chances are you won't be. At first, be like, yeah, look at me, I got my threads, I'm looking, looking strutting and everything. But after like, same thing happened to me when I got new suits when I get a banking job. Oh, okay, look at me. Fuck, put this damn thing on. I have fucking tie. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I look ritzy, don't I? And then that will spare you from blowing your money on really expensive stuff, namely a nicer car or a fancy apartment where the rent is super expensive. So trial run it with your clothes. See if that makes you any happier. And if it doesn't, then you know that it's not going to be material things that are going to make you happier. And then also try it my way. Okay, treat yourself to a good meal at a restaurant you always wanted to go to. Not even necessarily expensive, just something you normally wouldn't afford yourself. Like, I remember back in the day, like, I thought Perkins was like, oh, wow, Perkins, I can't afford Perkins. That's fancy. Devani's, holy cow, what? And it was a treat. It was like, oh, boy, I got a sandwich and it's warm. Oh, boy. So before you sign a lease and move your entire life and get a new car, and then you got a car expense, just try it with the clothes a little bit and see what happens. I'm also in the process of rebuilding my social circle because I've been busy with college the last few years. Finished now and have time for that again. I say, cool. But the most important thing, do you have a core group of friends you really like in your current place? Like, are these lifelong friends, brothers, family that give you purpose and meaning? Or is it just your standard crabs in the bucket you think you're better at this kind of thing? Or is it you don't have a social circle because you're in college all the time? He says, yes, I do have a core group of friends. Most of them have moved away and will meet up socially or occasionally. They just might not make good wingmen because while I was busy in school, they were settling down. I'm sensing that some of my friends I knew for a long time, but I'm less close with, might have a crab in the bucket mentality. All right. And this was the number one thing I was trying to assess about your current neighborhood living situation. If you had a core group of friends, like you had your buddies, you had your cronies with you, or you just had a good family, and that is like you'd move, but then you'd still go back to your old neighborhood to hang out with your friends because you all go to your local bar, and you got to pick on Jonesy because he's the short one in the group, and you got to pick on Frank because he's a fat one in the group, and everyone's cutting penis jokes. All right, if you had that, then I'd say there'd be no reason for you to move because there's your buddies, there's your friends. All right, that's the core group of people, and that's what gives you. And then the benefit is that there's the women there too. So you could still remain the big fish. And then I would totally say, look, I won't even tell anyone what you make. Hopefully you haven't. You never tell anyone what you make. You're just a regular old dude and you're making the same amount, maybe a little bit more than the other guys. That's about it. But you don't get a fancy car. You don't get a fancy thing. Maybe get a nice TV. Of course, you got to have an okay TV to play video games and whatnot. But I would not let on to anyone that you had that money. However, you don't have that core group of friends there. You don't have your family there. It really is just the place you sleep, and there happens to be a lot of play. So here's what I'm going to recommend you do, and it's optional because you could stay in your current place and save money and start saving up for retirement or early retirement, or maybe put a down payment on a house somewhere else. But I'm not against you going to another neighborhood. But understand why you'd go to the other neighborhood. It isn't so that you're in a nicer zip code. Okay, sure, fine. There's less crime, less statistical chance you get stabbed or injured, or there's property damage or your cars get slashed. But if you have a crappy car, it doesn't matter. It would just be, okay, I'm going to try a different experience. I'm going to go live somewhere else. It'd just be a trial run. Try something different. And unless you're moving really far away, I don't know. I don't see how this prevents you from going back to the old neighborhood and hooking up with the girls anyway. So fine, you move 10 miles away. Well, hop in your car or hop on the bus or the transit or something. I wish I knew which country, which city you were in. Catch a bus, catch the L, whatever. Go down and meet the girl, set up a date. Shoot, one time I was living in the north side of Chicago, drove all the way down to Comiskey Park to pick a girl up. If you got the transportation, you could do it. So I don't think you moving would necessarily make it so you couldn't date these girls. You couldn't still remain the big fish in the small pond. The other thing is if you put yourself in a different environment, this is just good for people in general. So you're not becoming accustomed to one environment. You grow as an individual. All right. Now you're hanging out with people in a nicer zip code. A generally good strategy is to shut up and not say anything and observe and watch. And, when people ask you a question, you say something. But I think it's more for your own growth. You realize, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I got a nicer apartment. Well, my other apartment was fine. It was, as long as it's safe and clean. Those are about the only standards, really. And you could wear your fancy clothes. You could go to the fancier restaurants and all that. Go and explore. You'll have observations about humanity, but I don't think it's going to help you with your career. You're already doing the hard work on that. Going to college, majoring in the right thing, doing the hard work. And majoring in the right subject as well. So that's kind of taken care of. This would just be for your own curiosity and benefit. And for any of your financial planners or advisors saying, oh yeah, you need to move to a nicer place. No, because that costs more. I'd be asking, are you throwing money into your Roth IRA? Do you have a 401k at work? Although I guess you'd have a 403b. You should have some kind of retirement plan at work. Are you throwing your money into that? Are you investing it wisely? Is it in a diversified portfolio? That's more important than oh yeah, dude, I lived in White Bear Lake, which is kind of a nice part of the Twin Cities. I even dated a lot of rich parents' kids because the girls themselves weren't rich. They just lived off of debt. I never got any benefits from that. One gal, she was pretty well up at a big, that didn't confer me any benefits. I didn't get any jobs. It would really be, do you want to just try living in a different neighborhood? And who knows, maybe those are your people. You find out, wow, I really like this. It's like they're not super rich or elitist. It's just slightly better, maybe a little bit more professional. Maybe you find a gal that's maybe more marriage worthy, marriage quality. But I would not have any such expectations. I would just go if you want to go. Check it out. Maybe a 6-month lease, whatever, or maybe do a year. But yeah, without a core group of friends or family or reason, like you go without the ball busting. If there's not a bar where the ball busting occurs, you ain't got a home. So you could go wherever you want. And so you might as well experiment and check it out a little bit. Home is where the ball busting is. Hunterman, $5. If you can leave the hood, you will. I don't know why that's even an issue. Even rappers who glorify the hood don't live there. Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not in like the worst part of Chicago or wherever. Maybe he's just not in a great part of town. I can understand if you got your friends and family there. It doesn't, as long as it's safe. I mean, if there's shootings every night, yeah, leave. But if it's safe, just a little dirty or dingy, not a bad neighborhood. Juan Doe, €2. You can leave the hood, but the hood never leaves you. Wisconsin Nomad, $5. All other things equal, it is better to date a Catholic girl. Is it better to date a Catholic girl in hopes of long-term commitment and loyalty? I don't know. To be actually honest, I don't know. I've never conducted a study on it. I've seen no data on it. If you will accept my anecdotal and my experience evidence, you accept anecdotes and my experience, Christian girls in general do not date them. Absolutely not. And the reason why is that unless they're very sincere and they're, like, oh yeah, I follow this, but I'm Christian, but man, do I like dick and I can't wait to have kids. Okay, that's cool. But for the most part, 95 at least, I almost want to say 97% of Christian girls are not Christian, and they are women using a religion to lord power and have an extra card to play against you. They're already looking at you as an adversary, and they have to defeat you. And so they need God. They got the God card. Well, my religion, God says that's bad and we shouldn't do it. And then you have to like, oh God, okay. And meanwhile, then they'll go fuck some other guy. I've seen it, dude. Preachers' wives. I've a good little Christian girl. They're out. It's a facade. It's something that's, I'm special. I belong to a team. I have never seen someone happily married to a modern day. Okay, now old school, going back my parents' generation or grandparents, but my generation and younger, I don't know anyone. It's like, oh yeah, I married a nice Christian girl, a nice Catholic girl, and everything went great. It's always a fucking problem. And then the guy's like, I got a nice Christian girl. Like, well, she wasn't that nice when I was dating her. Oh, she made you wait, huh? I've had that happen to me too, where I'm Christian, I'm saving myself, but you're a single mom. Oh, but I'm changed. I'm born again. And I find out she's fucking some other guy. Like, oh, fuck all of you. Or maybe not fuck all of you. $4. If you have more money in your closet than the bank, slap yourself. If you have more money in your closet than the bank. Oh, yeah. Put your money in the bank. Why do you put your money in the bank? Especially if you got under 250 grand. That's insured. You don't have to worry about it. Wisconsin Nomad, Midwest Catholic girl from Iowa. I don't care. I'd have to get to see her. Send me her profile, Wisco. Let me take a look. Hey, it'd be worth $35 for me to take a look and say, oh yeah, I want to. What is she asking you to drive to Iowa? You see how costs immediately add up, and tossing Cappy, a good grant, or at least a couple Andrew Jacksons doesn't hurt. Benjamin every once in a while. Look, think about if Wisconsin Nomad had to drive from, let's say, Milwaukee all the way to Des Moines. Well, I just saved him on the gas alone. He goes there, gets blue balled, because Jesus doesn't want me to touch your peen, which is the name of my next book. Jesus doesn't want me to touch your peen. The story of all American Christian girls. Spec Cops Towel. Tucson is the hood. You're not joking. I was shocked. South side of Tucson. North side was all right. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a nice area. But then I went to South side Tucson. I'm like, holy shit. Where is my gun? Let me pull over and open the trunk and put one in the chamber. Now he can drive. Move to Wisconsin. Send me a request. My time is money. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.